Hi, everyone, and welcome to Oscar's biggest morning in all the mornings of the year. A lot of discombobulating stuff going around here today, but we're happy to have you share some of your time with us. Christy and Alonso, greetings from Tomislav Zdunic is from somewhere. Hello, good to see you. Taylor, Aaron, Lynn, Matt.
Jersey City, Kansas, Australia, Vancouver.
Our good friend David in Kansas. Always so good to see you. Jane Choi is here. Jane Choi from Vancouver. Jane, I'm going to be going skiing in Whistler over spring break. So I look forward to spending time in Vancouver before then. Hello, Romero. Hello, Nancy. Thank you for saying Salinas, California. Antonio, are you aware that I met my husband in Salinas, California when I was the police reporter at the now defunct Californian newspaper? Apparently, there's no paper there anymore. It's very sad. My husband was a producer at KSBW, which stands for Salad Bowl of the World. I kid you not. That's what the call letters stand for. So I'm happy to see you in Salinas. Peru, London, Chicago, Pittsburgh, another London. Hi, John McVeigh. Thanks for being a channel member. We're happy that you're here. Toledo, Brussels. Oh, my goodness. Hi, everyone.
LA, Nutley.
Yes,
Aurora.
Romania. Eugen is in Romania. Yes, Tomislav's in Croatia. And Lewis Cook is here, another channel member. Thanks for being a channel member. You get all kinds of goodies when you're a channel member. Okay. Y nuestro amigo en Mexico también. Temo Rivera. Muy bien. Bienvenidos.
Hola, Temo.
Hola. And hola, Jonathan Caro. So happy you're here. Okay. So Oscar nominations happened today. What are you guys most excited about? We'll just go through this real quickly. Some of the biggies that happened, the biggies that didn't happen. Oppenheimer leads everything. Oh, first of all, if you were looking for Glenn Whipp, if you were waiting here for the awards punditry stylings of Glenn Whipp from the LA Times, he's not going to be here today. Sadly, it got a little busier for him than he expected it would be. Manila, Dibs is in Manila. And Leo is in Barbie Land. I'm happy that you represent him. We got to talk about Barbie. A lot to say with Barbie here today. Yes, Rob, you're right. All of us strangers getting nothing is shocking. I agree. I am deeply saddened. It should have gotten screenplay. It should have gotten Andrew Scott.
Yeah, at least.
It's also edited beautifully. All right, so Oppenheimer leads them all with 13. Poor Things got 11. Killers of the Flower Moon got 10. Barbie got 8. But among those 8 is not director or Margot Robbie. It did not get Best Director for Greta.
Or hair and makeup.
That was kind of shocking.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I began to worry. I thought,
I think Academy voters think that's just what people look like.
Right. Margot Robbie woke up this way.
Exactly.
Because pink goes with everything. And that's why. Yeah, that was very, very surprising to me. Hello, Paul Carl Lucas. Hello. Thank you for your kind generosity. Biggest day of the year for the word snub. I appreciate that sentiment. I don't love the word snub because it's math. It's really math. I mean, and who knows how many, like in the best director category, for example, how many votes divided? What's that, honey?
Who came in 6th?
Yeah, okay, so best director, for example, Justine Triet getting in for Anatomy of a Fall is very exciting and very unexpected. I think Scorsese, Nolan, Glazer, Lanthimos were all givens, but I think a lot of folks, us included, probably figured that Greta Gerwig would get in there for that other spot. Hi, Christian Harloff. Good to see you. Thank you for your kind generosity. If you are not already following Christian Harloff's channel, you should be, because he does movies and live stuff. He has a lot of UFO coverage. So if you have any questions about UFOs, Christian is your guy. So it's exciting that Justine Triet is in there. And if it gets more eyeballs on Anatomy of a Fall, fantastic. But I just don't know how Greta Gerwig doesn't get in there because it's her vision.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good news, bad news this year. Like, it's great that 2 queer actors are nominated for playing queer characters, Coleman Domingo in Rustin and Jodie Foster in Naiad. But we also have 3 straight actors playing queer characters. So Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, Annette Bening in Naiad, and Bradley Cooper for Maestro. So it's like, we can't ever win.
But Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction is an incredible supporting performance, and B, a nice surprise today.
Yes, and no shade on those performances. I'm just talking about the larger trend of things. This is actually Annette Bening's 2nd time to be nominated playing a lesbian. So,
20th Century Women? No. What was it called?
Kids Are All Right.
Kids Are All Right. Yes. Cool. So we have all of that. So the things, Alonso, what were you excited about today? What were the good ones?
On the good ones, well, Paul Giamatti, obviously, I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. Mark Ruffalo, I was glad that got nominated because comedic performances, you just never know if they're going to cross the finish line. I'm glad that at least Danielle Brooks got in there. I think Color Purple is one of the movies that really got ripped off today, along with May, December, and the aforementioned All of Us Strangers. Good for Ed Lachman for getting nominated for his El Conde cinematography.
Yeah, it's a good surprise.
That felt like one of those movies that just went into the Netflix vortex and then no one talked about it again. So I'm glad that people saw it. I was happy about America Ferrera. I was happy about the short subject nomination for Wes Anderson. But so it was a very mixed bag, as it always is.
Yeah, for sure. I want to check in with some of our folks who are commenting here. Jesse, we're so happy that you're here. Good to see you again. Agrees about Greta Lee not getting in for Past Lives. That was very surprising. But then Past Lives getting into Best Picture is one of my favorite nominations of the day. That's a huge surprise. And I think it got in also for screenplay.
For original,
yeah. Hi, Mike K. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. What are your thoughts on the nomination process for Best International Film? So funny. You should just ask that question. Do you agree with the rule that each country can only submit one film, or should that be up to the voting body to decide? I mean, I guess it's who is a voting body to speak for the country itself,
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, what would be the other option, because if every single film not in English was up for it, like there's no way that everybody could wade through all of them. But yeah, there is an inherent flaw in each country getting one, just because a lot of times the film that country picks is because of sort of weird political, machinations and who the hell knows why, when they miss like the clearly obvious, like superior movie that would have done better for them. This year, for example, France did not pick Anatomy of a Fall. They picked The Taste of Things, which is a lovely film, but did not make it in there. And then you have countries like Japan that had an embarrassment of riches this year. Like they got in with Perfect Days. They probably would have gotten in with The Boy and the Heron. They might even have gotten in with Godzilla -1, which got a visual effects nomination.
I was thinking about you. Were you so happy about that when that happened?
Yes, very, very much so. I agree with you that it is a flawed system, but I have no idea what the alternative would be.
Yeah. Also, we reviewed Monster this past week, which I don't think it was not Japan's pick, right? Because Perfect Days was. We're going to do Perfect Days. I have it on the calendar. In case you didn't know, Alonso, we're going to review Perfect Days one of these days.
Okay, good. We should.
I also think it's weird. But then you have like Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest both getting in Best Picture. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. So Micah, thank you so much. We appreciate you. He asks, Alonso, are you surprised that Strange Way of Life did not get into the short subject?
I didn't even think about it just because they ignored human voice. So I wasn't even expecting it at this point. The fact that, frankly, now that you mention it, that's kind of all the bigger deal that Wes Anderson did get in, because it seems like there has been a wall about like, well, if you've already made it as a feature filmmaker and you're already kind of a brand name in that category, don't come to us slumming with your little short, But I guess in this case, the power of Netflix would not be denied.
Yeah, that was surprising. Yeah. Hi, Jonathan. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. He says, angry at Best Doc, no Beyond Utopia, no Still. I am shocked that Still didn't get into Best Documentary. That just seemed like a shoe-in. It is so uplifting. It's about an actor that everyone loves. It's by a filmmaker who has already won an Academy Award for An Inconvenient Truth. So I also thought Still would get in there. And not American Symphony either, which a lot of people really love. The Jean-Baptiste movie.
This was a really packed year for docs. I mean, like, I think every year there's a lot of great docs, but in terms of ones that were getting awards, I mean, look, the Menu Plaisir didn't even get shortlisted, and that won all of the Critics Group's awards, the Frederick Wiseman documentary. You had Smoke Sauna Sisterhood. You had Kokomo City, like a lot of...
Yeah.
It'd be Best Doc than Best Picture.
Yeah. And in the ones that are in there, I do think that Four Daughters is probably your front runner at this point in that category. It's just really, it keeps winning a lot of stuff. So I can imagine that. What's so funny is that 20 Days in Mariupol got into Best Documentary, which is a production of the Associated Press, my former employer. And they were tweeting out things like, this is the AP's first Oscar nomination in 178 years. Like
I
they've
think it's
been
also
in the filmmaking business all that time.
it's also I think the first Ukrainian submission to get nominated in that category.
Hmm. Interesting. Brent Ludhole, good to see you. You guys should follow Brent at his Awake in the Dark reviews. He's always very thoughtful. He says, World of Real is reporting that PTA did rewrites for Killers of the Flower Moon. I had never heard that before.
It did not get a screenplay nomination.
It did not. Yeah, that's one of the ones I was surprised about. No Killers and adapted. Yeah, so among the ones like when I just taken notes, yeah, let's talk about Penelope Cruz. Thank you, Rafe. Let's talk about Penelope Cruz real fast because that is to me one of the biggest oversights. I'll use the word oversight and a shocking omission. Like Ferrari got nothing. It's really, really weird to me because it's an exceptionally well-made film. But if we're anything it would have gotten, I really thought Penelope Cruz was just stunning. I know you agree, Alonso.
Yeah.
Yes.
That did seem like a big omission. She just won National Society of Film Critics, and I thought that was an undeniable one. But what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. Nancy asks, do you think was not nominated because Michael J. Fox received a special Oscar? Did he? I don't know. Was that recently? I don't remember that.
Was that this year? Or
yeah, I don't remember. Nancy, let us know.
I don't know that those things are connected necessarily, but again, like we don't know who came in sixth and by how many votes. So the reason we never use the word snub is because snub sounds like they all got together in a room and they're like, fuck that guy, and that's not how it works. It's like everybody's off in their different places voting for the things that they believe in, or that they work the studio they work for, or whatever it is that guides their voting. We never know what the numbers are. I'm a big advocate that we're coming up on the 100th anniversary in 2027. I would love it if 100 years later, the Academy would start releasing voting totals. Yeah. Because then that way, I think film historians could really get a lot of information out of that. And it wouldn't be, like diminishing the accomplishments of anybody who is still living.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hi, Christine. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. It's always good to see you in the comments. You contribute so much around here. She asks, is there a nomination you think doesn't stand a chance, but you're delighted to see it nominated? For me, it's Nimona. She says in the animated feature category. Alonso, what's your answer to that question?
Good question. I did not see Nimona. It's on my list of things that I need to get to.
Yeah.
I think certainly El Conde fits that category.
Godzilla -1 probably will not win visual effects, but that's pretty cool.
Godzilla, exactly. Yeah, especially because it was like made on the cheap and not in this country. Coleman Domingo, I think he's the one nomination for that film. I don't think he has a chance, but I'm thrilled that he's in the 5.
Same for Danielle Brooks. Like I'm really happy to see her in there, and I'm very surprised that is the only one that The Color Purple got. Because in a lot of ways, it's very traditionally kind of like crowd pleasing, awards pleasing, like for a more old fashioned kind of awards voter. I don't know why that. Maybe did they show it to everyone too late?
I don't think so. I mean, they had 2 shortlisted songs that I thought were good. Oh, and can we talk about Diane Warren for a moment?
I mean, I don't even know what the Flamin' Hot Cheeto song sounds like.
Oh, well,
do you?
I do, because Dave and I did a Linoleum Nights where we talked about all of the shortlisted songs, and it's nothing special. But I think that, remember that year at the Emmys, they put Ellen Burstyn got nominated for like guest appearance in a movie that it turns out she was in for like 10 seconds. But people just saw her name on the ballot, like, oh, Ellen Burstyn, she's great. I think that's how it works now with Diane Warren when she writes a new song. I think that category, that division of the Academy is like, oh well, love her, she's great. And that song, I think you can point to a lot of her songs, her recent nominations, as being like, negligible, but it's like, damn it, she's going to win this thing one of these years in competition. They already gave her the honorary, but damn it, she's going to win it in competition if it's the last thing we all do.
Yeah. And John Williams got nominated today too.
Yes.
for Indiana Jones.
And look, if you can tell me what's new in the Dial of Destiny score from the other Indiana Jones films, please elucidate, because I missed it.
Our friend Matthew makes a good point that I'd like to address, and Alonso, you may have some thoughts on this. Might you consider, as a queer person myself, that when you say it's the first time queer actors got nominated for playing these roles, do we know many choose not to disclose their sexuality even now? We should be more specific.
Openly queer.
Out and queer.
Out queer. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it.
Coleman Domingo is the first out actor to be nominated for playing a queer role in the Best Actor category since 1998. Ian McKellen for Gods and Monsters was the last one, and maybe he was the first one too.
Yeah, for playing James Whale in Gods and Monsters. Yeah. That's great. Thank you very much, Chick Modest. We really, really appreciate your kind generosity. Rebecca, hello, Rebecca. Thank you so much to you. Rebecca asks, she says, I'm very excited for Ms. Trier, but so disappointed for Greta. Apparently writing and directing a critical darling and highest grossing movie is not enough. It's almost impossible for two female directors. Yeah, I mean, is it just that it's so tight? I mean, is it so tight? And also, there's 10 Best Picture nominees this year. 5 of them are not going to make it. Right. It doesn't all line up.
You wonder if it becomes that thing of people thinking, oh, well, Greta's got this in the bag, so I'm going to support this other person, and maybe if enough people think that, then she's screwed. I don't know. Two interesting things that I read today. One, Justine Trier is only the eighth woman to be nominated for Best Director in the 96-year history of the Academy. Also, Greta Gerwig is the first filmmaker whose first 3 solo directorial efforts were nominated for Best Picture.
Right. Lady Bird, Little Women.
And Barbie.
Right.
Nobody else in the history of cinema, nobody else's first 3 films directing on their own, she has one shared credit from way back, got Best Picture nods, but still no director nod for her. But her day will come.
No, she got nominated for Best Director for Little Women.
Okay, maybe did she? I
looked it up. Anyway, She has a Best Director. She has multiple screenplay nominations.
Okay.
This is her 4th today. Her 4th nomination. I do, because I was looking it up. I think she did get a Best Director nomination. You guys can correct me. That would be great. Gonzalo, hello, all my love from Chile. Good to see you in Chile. Yes, Seth, hello, Seth. Good to see you. Seth, I love that picture that you sent us of the Breakfast All Day neon sign. That was so cool. I really appreciated that. I posted it in our stories. Seth says, Mika Levy not getting score for Zone of Interest is insane. Yeah. I mean, how we handled that with LA Film Critics is we gave Mika Levy an award, but also the sound designer, Johnny Byrne, kind of in tacitly with each other. They're working together in tandem. But yeah, Mika Levy didn't get one today. It's really weird.
Gerwig was nominated for directing Lady Bird. You're right.
Thank you. I knew it was one of them.
So is in sound, did they not nominate Zone of Interest?
Yes, it got sound.
It did. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. I was looking for that. I'm like, it's got to be in sound because that's so crucial to the experience there. Christine, thank you again. Someone on Threads referred to this year's nominations as Bradley Cooper's villain origin story. You guys, I don't think Maestro is going to win a single thing. Maybe makeup, but it won't get picture. It won't. No. Bradley Cooper won't win. Carey Mulligan won't win.
No.
Cinematography, as brilliant as Matthew Libatique, won't win. I don't think. I imagine it's going to be Oppenheimer.
Rodrigo Prieto.
No, I think Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it should be Prieto because he did for Killers, but also Barbie, like in one year. Come on, man.
Yeah. And it's in makeup.
Yeah, it might win makeup.
Did it get editing? It should have if it didn't. Did it?
Let me look.
But even for editing, I mean, how do you deny Thelma Schoonmaker making a 3-hour and 26-minute long film that does not feel like a 3-hour? What?
It's not nominated for editing.
That's a shocker because there are so many thrilling transitions there. That's part of what's so exciting about Maestro is the way that it moves. And anyway, it's very, very confusing to me. But the Oscars, again, we don't know what one vote or two in one direction or another might have done. Exactly. Sway, thank you so much for your kind donation. Sway says, good afternoon to you both. Good afternoon to you. What time zone are you in? Thoughts on May, December not receiving a single acting nomination. Thought Charles Melton was the most probable to receive one. That's shocking to me. The only one that it got was screenplay.
Yeah. I don't know if this hit too close to home for people in the industry. I think that it is pretty blisteringly satirical about the exploitation of real life tragedy, and so instead they just gave it to movies that were exploiting real life tragedy. I don't know. But I knew that there was going to be, because I could tell that with Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman, there was a whole who's lead and who's supporting,
Yeah.
and do we pick one over the other? And like that's how Charles Melton, I think, sort of became like, well, we know he is very clearly the supporting actor, and he's great. We like him, and he'd been doing really well up until this point. But yeah, I was shocked that he didn't make it in there. I thought it would. I mean, again, and I knew that music wasn't gonna, because it incorporates like stuff from other films. But yeah, that like I said, to me the big disappointments today were All of Us Strangers, Color Purple, and May December.
Yeah, all three of those performances in May December are excellent, and as you say, Charles Melton is clearly supporting. Like there's no question about that at all. Looney, hey Looney, good to see you. Looney says, I thought that was Natalie Portman's best performance ever. I mean, yeah, that scene in which she's talking to the class about acting and how uncomfortable that gets, and then that monologue toward the end where she's reading the letter and like doing the voice and doing like a slight lisp, and yeah, that was. That was really, really good. Hi, Todd. Good to see you. Kay Walton says, I hope Charles Melton gets more work from this at least. Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Oh, speaking of May December, another fun fact for today. Christine Vachon's very first Best Picture nomination. I'm shocked to hear this, but she's like this legendary producer. She's worked with Todd Haynes since they were at Brown together. Killer Films has been behind like so many of the great indie films of the last several decades, and now finally with
Past Lives.
Thank you. I don't know why I wanted to call it Swan Song. Past Lives. Christine Vachon finally gets her first Best Picture nomination. Well deserved.
She's a legend, and she has incredible taste.
Yes.
And takes chances on real art. And that sounds pretentious as hell coming out of my mouth as I hear myself saying it, but it's true. I mean, Killer Films, if you look what they've done over the years, she's just got
and championed a lot of really great first time filmmakers like John Cameron Mitchell doing Hedwig and people like that.
Work with Todd Haynes forever. Brent, hello, says Academy actors probably didn't like the in-film commentary in May December. Yeah, self-serious actors, or the fact that it's not even as much as she's self-serious, but she's like duplicitous.
Exactly, she's manipulative.
She is tricking everybody with her thing. Hi, Mike Webb, good to see you. What are your thoughts on Dead Reckoning becoming the first Mission Impossible film to be nominated for an Oscar? I think it got 2 today, right? It got 2 nominations today.
Did it? Hang on.
No, the creator got 2 also, which is bizarre.
The creator got 2, yeah.
I want to say like visual effects. Will you look it up for me while we're talking?
I'm looking right now. It's sound. Oh, and sound and visual effects. You're right. Yeah, 2. Good for them. I did not know of that statistic, but long overdue.
Yes, even though there's not going to be a Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Oh, they canceled it for sure?
I think they're just, whatever it is, they're not calling it. Whatever the next Mission Impossible movie is, it's not going to be called Dead Reckoning Part 2. So Dead Reckoning Part 1, it will just linger. It'll linger there in the air for the rest of our lives. Andrew Kruger, hola amigos. Andrew, why are you not in school right now? Is school already done? He is not a kid. He's a teacher. Es un maestro de español. So he's a good friend of
quiet reading time, and he's got
and he's like, hola amigos. Oscars suck. LOL. Send. Hola amigos. Which film do you think will win Best Picture? I'm guessing Oppenheimer or The Holdovers. Do you think the majority of voters will watch all the nominees? That's a very good question. I do think Oppenheimer is going to be Best Picture, and I think it's going to be dominant in all of those categories where it's up against like Poor Things and Barbie and Killers, like all those technical ones that they all kind of overlap. I do think that's probably going to be the one there that wins it all. What do you think, Alonso?
No, you're probably right, even though I am not a fan of Oppenheimer, and I think there are many better films this year. It does have the like most nominations thing going for it, which isn't always necessarily an indication. I always remember the Color Purple versus Out of Africa year, where Color Purple, I think, had as many or more nominations and went 1-0, and then Out of Africa swept. So I don't know. I think the thing about The Holdovers is it lets people leave the theater feeling uplifted and like they've seen something life affirming. and never underestimate the power of that on Academy voters. So we'll see what happens.
You know what's funny is I've had this discussion with various people in various comment sections about whether The Holdovers actually is an uplifting film. And I think ultimately it is, but not in obvious sentimental ways.
Sure.
Like it's all these people who are very isolated and very disparate, and they come together in an unexpected way and find that they need each other, and they're fulfilled through that bond. So I think it ultimately is uplifting, but on the way there, it's like mean.
Sure.
It's mean
and even like Paul Giamatti's character, on one hand, you could say like, oh, he's lost everything. But on the other hand, he is reborn, so yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of Oppenheimer action. I'm going to be like, great.
I know it's going to be dominant though. Christian, so happy to see you today. Thank you so much. Thank you for today of all days for joining us. We really appreciate it. It says, always love you guys. I'm sad. Nothing for Saltburn. I knew it wasn't going to happen as it wasn't super loved, but I would have preferred Pike over Foster, and thrilled for Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah, I do enjoy that Rosamund Pike performance for sure.
Yeah. And I think like production design, they could have maybe zhuzhed it in some of the craft categories, and that would have fit. I'll tell you, I since our review of Naiad, I went back and sort of did the reading up on articles about how it's basically a work of fiction. But I still think Foster's performance, and to an extent Benning's, are really great. So I'm not necessarily mad about those two. Although like if I were to punch somebody out of supporting actress, I would probably go with Emily Blunt, because I feel like you're just watching her have a fit in slow motion.
And I think of the two women, I do think Florence Pugh gets the chance to do something more interesting in that film than Emily Blunt does. But anyway, I know you're not a fan.
I love Florence Pugh, but she has the scene that I couldn't stop laughing during, that I can't believe other people.
Was she sitting there naked, just hanging out?
When she's grabbing his dick while he says, "I'm become the destroyer of worlds." Like, oh yeah, this is where we're going to deliver Oppenheimer's most famous line. While he's anyway. Not going to relitigate that one.
They're just cuddling. That's all they're doing. Josh says, and this is in quotes, how about 2 makeup nominees for quote unquote employing Jew face? This is Josh's phrasing of this. Ooh. Also, Nick Cage for Dream Scenario was snubbed. I mean, Leonard Bernstein's own family was totally okay with, not just okay with, very supportive of Bradley Cooper's depiction of their father. So I would not dare to speak for anybody who was Jewish or speak for his family. So I don't know about that.
And I didn't see Golda, so I can't say. But I mean,
right, there's Golda too.
Yeah, there is certainly an ongoing conversation about who gets to play what. I think we have definitely established that we need to stop casting cis actors in trans roles, but obviously for gay, lesbian, bisexual roles, it still seems to be open season. And for matters of I don't know. This is a longer conversation for another day. But yeah, I agree. Like the Bernstein family did sign off on what they were doing with Maestro, and nobody has talked about Golda until this moment. Like that movie came and went, and when I saw the trailer, I just thought this is an awards campaign, but is it a movie?
Yeah. Did we review Golda here? I don't think we did.
I never saw it. Did you?
I did, because I had to review it for Ebert, and I think I talked about it on some radio somewhere. Okay. But yeah, it's fine. It just feels like a very traditional kind of biopic. So anyway, Jonathan Armstead, thank you very, very much, Jonathan, for your kind generosity. His Barack Obama's Higher Ground movies, Rustin, American Symphony, and Leave the World Behind, didn't get noms in their respective film categories. Voting was rigged. Send it back to the States. Haha. So Rustin did get something for Coleman Domingo, though, for Best Actor. Yeah. So there is that. And that is, as you pointed out, I think one of the big surprises of the day.
And their stuff has been nominated in years past. I think Crip Camp got a Best Doc nomination, right? Did it not?
I don't remember.
Okay, maybe.
It Can Be says, I would love to see Ryan Gosling win. Yeah, and that basically is so interesting because, him getting nominated and I'm just Ken getting nominated, but not Greta and not Margot is like exactly the point of the movie.
Yeah.
the patriarchy being dominant for too long. It's like, did you guys not watch the movie?
At least America Ferrera made it in there, which was nice. But yeah, it is weird that you nominate Ken for the Barbie movie. You don't nominate Barbie. Like, okay, what are we saying here?
I
But
do
again,
wonder if we're going to get Ryan Gosling singing "I'm Just Ken" on stage. Is he going to do the song?
I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, I'm sure that the producers of the film, Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig, would tell him to, do it if he wants to, or be supportive of him doing it. So, it would be a way for him to like, I bet you he could wear or say or do something that would sort of give a shout out to his fallen comrades.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a way to do that. I agree with you. Yes. And Intoxicated Masculinity makes a nice point about the holdovers, saying, I think the thing that's nice about the holdovers is that all three main characters exit the film better than when they started.
Yeah, that's true. They all have an arc.
Yeah, but not in a way that's cheesy. Jack252, hello, thank you, says the Holdovers is a focus movie which is owned by Universal. Wouldn't Uni just throw all their money behind Oppenheimer to ensure victory? Why campaign against yourself? Signed, a Holdovers fan. Or they can do what we like to say around here, which is embrace the and.
And I would imagine that Focus probably has its own separate budget for awards campaigns and stuff that the Universal Pictures main one does. I mean, obviously, I'm sure that whatever awards budget Oppenheimer has is part of that fakakta contract that Nolan signed with them. Remember, where they couldn't release another movie 45 days before or after or whatever. So I'm sure he had built in, knowing that he would be, an Oscar hopeful, that they would have to spend X amount on all that stuff. And I think Focus has its own separate pool for doing that. So it's more a question of like, maybe that's why Trolls World Tour didn't get an animation nomination, because they spent all their money on Oppenheimer.
Yeah, like Searchlight is its own thing still, even though Searchlight was Fox, is now Disney. I feel like Searchlight is still its own little like oasis of good stuff. Which brings me
clearly they're keeping Searchlight open as an Oscar magnet, which worked for Poor Things. So
but say the same exact thing. Yeah, we've not talked about Poor Things at all, which is our favorite movie of the year, which got just a ton of nominations: picture, director, screenplay, Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, which is very exciting. I thought Willem Dafoe would get in. I'm very surprised about Mark Ruffalo. It got score, it got cinematography, it got costume design,
makeup and hairstyling,
also production design. So, but Barbie, will Barbie then get some of those things that it's up for? I feel like Poor Things is for sure going to be Emma Stone. I think maybe Lily Gladstone wins Best Actress. I would think it's Emma Stone though, because she's kind of been on a roll with a lot of things. Does Barbie win costume? Does Oppenheimer win production design? What does Killers of the Flower Moon win? Is it possible that a movie like that will get nothing? I don't know.
I don't know. It is hard. I'm the worst prognosticator about this sort of thing. There are people who do this for a living, and I ain't one of them. So yeah, but it is certainly possible that Killers of the Flower Moon is a film that people that voters look at as being important, but it doesn't like grab them, in the way that something else does.
Yeah. I feel like I think Killers of the Flower Moon, maybe its score would win. Maybe part of that is like a sentimental kind of posthumous acknowledgement of Robert Robertson. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So Looney says, so sad Willem Dafoe was missing. He's long overdue. Has he never won an Oscar? Maybe not.
Maybe not, but he gets nominated a lot. Like he gets nominated in movies where nothing else gets nominated. Like a couple years ago, that Van Gogh movie he made.
Oh, right.
So they like him. He'll be back.
Yeah. John Nolan says, after watching All of Us Strangers last night, I'm completely surprised that Paul Mescal wasn't in the mix for supporting actor. Andrew Scott is a given for actor, but Mescal is equally as good. Yeah, I think they're both excellent. And that script is so beautiful and so subtle. And if you guys saw our spoiler conversation about All of Us Strangers, we're still not totally sure what happened in this movie. Amazing theories, though. Go look at our All of Us Strangers spoiler talk, because we have amazing theories in the comments section.
The comments, yeah. And I think that if Paul Mescal weren't coming off of his nomination for After Sun, like that performance would feel like more of a revelation to people, and they'd feel like, "Oh, who is this guy?" But it's just sort of like, I don't know. I think it got a little lost in the shuffle, unfortunately.
Yeah. Lewis Cook, thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you for being a member here at our channel. Lewis says, it's surprising that The Color Purple only got 1 nomination compared to the original's 11. Do you think the negative publicity about how the cast was treated impacted the movie's award chances? I don't think I knew that there was anything about how the cast was treated. Did you, Alonso?
I missed this one as well. I don't know. I don't read a lot of interviews, so I don't know.
Please come back and fill us in and let us know.
Yeah. It's hard to say what was going on with that. I think maybe it's that thing where if it had been more financially successful, they would have felt maybe more compelled to. Yeah. Although, I was surprised that none of the Wonka songs even got shortlisted.
Oh. Yeah, but they weren't all that memorable, right? Like even
a couple.
It's chocolate and chocolate song. Chocolate song.
There's the Scrub song. The song that the bad guys sing to the police chief was not bad. I don't know. It was just because that movie, it was a big hit for Warner Brothers, but it got zilch.
Yeah. Roma Steve says Willem Dafoe is the Glenn Close of Willem Dafoe's. Yeah. We have a lot of folks who are very knowledgeable about Willem Dafoe's awards history. He lost for Platoon and Shadow of a Vampire. That was a great movie, by the way. Shadow of a Vampire was awesome. Seven Rasman says Lily Gladstone will win Best Actress. No doubt in my mind. And just maybe. And her being nominated is a huge feat in and of itself. Because she's the first Native American acting nominee?
Yeah, and only the second Native American nominee, period, after Buffy St. Marie in the mid-'80s.
Oh, right.
Because this is because we're separating United States Indigenous versus Canadian Indigenous, because Graham Greene and I forget who else who are Canadian have been nominated in the past. And then, if you spread the Indigenous net wider, you get like Taika Waititi and other filmmakers. But yeah, she's the first Native American acting nominee.
Yes. John M. asks, did we talk about Asteroid City not getting production design?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Or anything.
Movie was fair, but production design was fun. Yes, it did not. But then Wes Anderson got in for that Henry Sugar short.
True. Although, are shorts a committee thing the way that Foreign is? Do we know how that works?
I don't know. And that is a good question. We'll have to look into that. Yeah. Okay, I do not want to mess up your name. I so appreciate the kind donation you gave us. Is it Jinkazi E? I'm so sorry if I got this wrong. Please correct me. Thank you so much. American Fiction winning Oscars would complete the bit of American Fiction. This is not a compliment. The film is such a straw man about today's industry commodifying. It's not Hollywood Shuffle. It doesn't even touch Bamboozled. Interesting. So this is sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that American Fiction is getting so many nominations you're suggesting?
Here's the thing. When I saw the first trailer for American Fiction, I thought, oh, is that what this is going to be? And yeah, it did seem very much of the Hollywood Shuffle Bamboozled school. But then when I saw it, I think that's an element to it, but it's such a rich story in terms of his family relationships with the brother and the sister and the mom. And I liked the humor of so much of it that I don't think it's just a sort of a one note samba here. I think there's a lot going on with American Fiction. And I don't think that it's being honored because of white guilt. I think it's genuinely good, but who can say why anybody votes for anything?
Yeah, good question. Derek points out Willem Dafoe should have won for the Florida Project.
Yep. That was another one. He's been up a lot.
Yeah. Our friend Jesse had a comment or a question here somewhere. Oh yeah. What do you think is the most undeserving Best Picture winner in history? This is a topic I know you enjoy, Alonso.
Ooh, well, I mean, you've got your classics like The Greatest Show on Earth, and Around the World in 80 Days. More recently you've got Crash and Green Book.
Yeah.
Cimarron's not that great. So I think there's a long history of that. I mean, in the time that I have been a working film critic, my number one movie of the year won Best Picture exactly one time. That was Moonlighting.
Oh, okay. Moonlight.
Yes, sorry.
But Moonlighting also deserves at least an Emmy.
Yes.
Or something.
No doubt.
Yeah, that is a good point. Okay, so we have. Lots of folks are chiming in on worst. You got a good question here, Jesse. Lots of folks chiming in. Coda, Driving Miss Daisy, Crash, and Green Book, of course. A lot of folks saying that. Roma Steve says Crash. Matt says Crash. Christian says Coda. Yeah, a lot
But
of
hey,
us
they
for
gave
Crash.
they gave it to Parasite not that long ago. Let's never forget.
Right. And this is what gives me hope for Poor Things. Although I don't even know who I'm kidding with that. But when I saw Poor Things, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so weird. But then, like, Everything Everywhere was so dominant last year. And that's
True.
totally
Yes.
challenging and weird.
Absolutely not one that people would think, yes, Oscar bait, so maybe they won't go to the obvious, Oppenheimer route and they'll go for something a little weirder. I don't know.
We have lots of Coda defenders here. I enjoyed Coda. I got choked up. I may have shed a tear or two in Coda. That scene on the back of the truck was very sweet.
I thought Coda was fine. I felt like it was a little manipulative and it didn't trust itself and it kind of like overplayed its hand at the end. But it's like I'm not mad at Coda, but Best Picture, no.
Connor says Braveheart is horrible. Ooh, that's a hot take. What say you?
Agreed. I forgot that was even a Best Picture winner, but yes.
Dan chimes in with Green Book, Oliver, English Patient, Beautiful Mind. But I feel like English Patient and A Beautiful Mind are of a time in terms of the kinds of movies that used to win Best Picture, and now we get stuff like Parasite and Everything Everywhere quite often.
I mean, you're right, but that doesn't excuse it. Even when A Beautiful Mind was new, I was like, this movie's ridiculous.
Yeah, but don't you feel like it's sort of part of the culture still? Like whenever anyone's trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff and they can see the letters and numbers.
Sure, yes, I'll give you that.
J. Scott,
and English Patient gave us a good Seinfeld episode.
Yes, I wanted Sack Lunch to win that year, but no. J. Scott Garibay says, I wish Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves had been considered for Oscars. Frustrating. Thank you for this live stream. Thank you for being at our live stream. Yeah, that was a fun movie, but I think it's maybe not serious enough. Not important enough.
I mean, like they would have to really make their cases like, look, our visual effects are amazing or something. But yeah, it's the kind of goofy genre comedy that the Academy is not going to take seriously. Look, if we think it's a stretch that they went for Mark Ruffalo, they definitely were not going to go for Dungeons and Dragons. Although I will say, I think the Ruffalo nomination reminds me of Kevin Kline winning for A Fish Called Wanda.
That's true.
It's that kind of performance. So, he might have a shot. I don't know.
It's like fun and buffoonish. Yes.
Yeah.
Matt Jazz fan says, so glad Davine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers got in. Yes, absolutely. And I think she's far and away your favorite in that category.
I'd say she's clearly our front runner here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she just keeps winning. And it's exciting. She was at our LA Film Critics dinner.
Yeah.
It was so lovely to have her there. And she just seems sweet and down to earth, and I was really happy to have her join us that night. So
for sure.
Another vote for Braveheart. People like Coda. King's Speech, is that a bad Best Picture nominee?
Not a bad nominee, but I think a bad winner. I think like Social Network was far more interesting that year, and pretty much just about every Best Picture race I could point to something else that same year and be like, did The Revenant win Best Picture or just Best Director?
Oh, no, it didn't win Best Picture.
No.
Yeah.
But Birdman did.
Birdman won.
Birdman beat Boyhood, which I was like, no.
Emma Stone's been in a lot of Best Picture winning movies. She was in La La Land, Birdman. Yes, Snowy Taco says Godzilla -1 for VFX is my favorite nomination. I cheered. I was thrilled about that one. And you guys, I don't know if you saw this, it's coming out in black and white for a week.
Friday.
Friday. Is it this Friday?
This Friday. Yeah.
We got to jump on that.
For sure.
So for 1 week only, it's called what? Godzilla -1 Color?
Minus Color, yes.
So if you have not seen it yet, I'm going to go take Nick and Chris, I think, on Sunday and make them go see it because they will dig it. Because they both like old, cheesy Godzilla. And so I think they will enjoy good Godzilla. Angel the Man, always so good to see you around here. Gladiator is the worst Best Picture ever. Are you not entertained?
I watched Gladiator once on a screener and I didn't finish it.
Oh, you want to know what happens?
Not really.
Shape of Water is fine, but not Best Picture, says D. But Shape of Water is exciting to me in that it signals a willingness to go for weird, challenging stuff. Like the fish bucking movie. Come on, that's kind of Guillermo del Toro takes chances.
For sure, no question.
Matt Jazz fan. Go ahead. I'm sorry, honey.
No, I was going to say, speaking of people who released their movies in black and white, there was a black and white Nightmare Alley that he put out a couple years ago.
Oh, right. Matt Jazz fan, thank you so much. Says, in my opinion, the worst snubs were Wall-E and The Wrestler not being nominated for Best Picture, while the Snore Fest Benjamin Button was nominated.
Oh, that's a very deep rabbit hole of movies that didn't even get nominated for sure.
Wall-E, if I'm not mistaken, was our LA Film Critics pick for Best Picture one year, was it not?
It was indeed.
I think it's the year it was my first year, and I had just had Nick, so my brain was still messed up. Jose says, has anyone ever rewatched The King's Speech? I think that is a one viewing movie.
I'll tell you, nothing that director has made since has inspired me to want to revisit it, because he went on to do Les Mis and Cats.
Ooh, but Cats is very exciting.
I'll rewatch Cats.
We had fun at Cats. It meant you had a good time. Here, Dinner at Breakfast says no Flora and Son songs all season is also disappointing.
Yeah. And it did have 2 shortlisted at least, but it didn't make the final thing.
I don't feel like Apple put forth any kind of campaign for that, though. I feel like they were so tied up with Killers.
Yeah, they didn't do much for Napoleon either, which only got like some craft categories. And that was about it.
Yeah. Derek W. Kim says, who do you think is winning Best Actress, Lily or Emma? This is tough.
Could go either way. I suspect the odds makers will probably have them close, maybe giving Lily a slight edge, but I would guess it's going to be one of those two.
They are such extremely different performances, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, because what Emma Stone is doing is big, and it's a huge arc, and it's showy. It's small and fine-tuned in a lot of very specific technical ways, but it's also big and brash. And
building the character is part of the performance.
Yeah, and Lily Gladstone, what she's doing, being anchored, being grounded, being like the quiet source of wisdom here is its own skill set, and and is moving in its own way. So that's really, really tough. I don't know. Hello, Seth. Thank you so much. Is there anything you want to see on the actual ceremony? Me, I'd like to see choreography incorporated back into the costume category. Wait, what do you mean by that? What does that mean?
they would have these like dance sequences where everybody would come out wearing like different costumes from the movie, and that was one way to do it. Yeah, it was better than the year that like they sent Whoopi Goldberg out on stage wearing different outfits, one of which was from Beloved. It was like, oh
yikes.
Yeah, what do I want to see in the category? Can Godzilla be a presenter? That would be awesome.
That would be fun. I mentioned it earlier. I do want to see Ryan Gosling sing I'm Just Ken, because when that came out, I'm like, that would be a moment, and that could be really fun. Especially, did you guys see that fun Christmas version of the song? It's still the same song. It's arranged a little differently, but it's him in studio with Mark Ronson, and it's a Christmas thing for Barbie. Yes. CMR says Lily Gladstone will win because the character had trauma. But I mean, Bella Baxter does too.
I was going to say.
And she overcomes. She has men trying to oppress her and cage her.
Right.
So
interesting that like of the 5 actresses this year, none of them are wearing like major prosthetics.
Yeah, actresses. Right. Yes. There's no like Nicole Kidman.
Right. Nose.
Right. Exactly. A couple folks, Tom and Connor both mentioned Sandra Hüller. Let's talk about her for a second.
Great performance, but I think, it's going to be one of those things where, the nomination is honor enough for this foreign lady we've never heard of before, even though she's a huge star in Germany. She was in Tony Erdmann and a bunch of other stuff, and is great in Zone of Interest this year as well. Mm-hmm. And in some years, the twoferness of like getting nominated for one movie, but everybody knowing about 2 amazing things you did that year might lift them up. I don't know that's going to be the case with Sandra Hüller. It's funny though. I was thinking about how Jodie Foster being in True Detective right now.
Oh, right.
That helped Matthew McConaughey the year of Dallas Buyers Club. That was when season 1 of True Detective aired during the Oscar voting period. And I think it kind of helped remind people on a Sunday night, oh yeah, he's good. Oh, he's good.
That Jodie Foster, she's going places.
Yeah.
That's a really good point that you make. I was thinking about that too, because we are recapping True Detective on our Patreon. So come and join us there. Roma Steve, thank you so much for your kind donation. We really appreciate it. As members of various juries, do you know whether people actually read the scripts to judge best screenplay? I don't know. I would hope so.
I mean, I think that the way the Academy is set up is that the screenwriters branch votes on that, but I don't know if they sit down and read them all or if they just take the final product as the thing. Because I mean, obviously they're rating what's on screen. They're not rating the script that got sold or the script, that whatever. Like there's that thing, that you write a movie 3 times, once before the shoot, once during the shoot, and once in the editing room. So they are, I'm assuming, voting on what's in the editing room and not like,
Right.
the shooting script that went into it or whatever. But I honestly don't know.
Ryan Witt points out, really hope Robert Downey Jr. finally wins an Oscar. I think it's his time. That could happen for supporting actor. Let's think, who else is in supporting actor?
Ryan Gosling.
Oh, that's right, Ryan Gosling.
I think Ryan Gosling's got it this year. I like Robert Downey Jr. a lot. I don't think his performance in Oppenheimer was that great. It felt a little cartoony to me. I mean, frankly, in his scenes with Alden Ehrenreich, I was more interested in Alden Ehrenreich because he was giving me a grounded human being and not all the huffing and puffing that Downey was doing. If there's enough of a Oppenheimer wave, he could well write it, but I would imagine this is probably the one lock that Barbie has. This and maybe the Billie Eilish song.
I think the Billie Eilish song wins for sure, and I think it also wins costume design. Although the Poor Things costumes are so gnarly and so weird, but think of all the work that went into recreating all those specific Barbie outfits.
Sure, but I think also, like, if you're, and again, it's not everybody votes on the final round, not just the costumers, but I mean, the Barbie award, the Barbie costumes are ambitious and specific, and they're great. I love them. But like from a production standpoint, in terms of like crafting, sewing together the cloths and all those bodices and the shoulder puffs, and like the labor intensity of Poor Things and of the entire cast of that film, is pretty impressive.
The vision of it, the hole for Willem Dafoe's little plug, his little hose to go in. Very specific. Matthew says, talk about Annette, please. Can she win Best Actress? I do not think so.
Not for this film. I don't know. I think that for one thing, I think the whole like none of this maybe ever happened is dogging Nyad a lot, whether or not you think it should. That's just the thing that always comes up with biopics. But I think that, like a lot of Netflix movies, it sort of didn't really make an impact on audiences the way they might have with a more traditional kind of theatrical run. And so, I think it's going to be Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that those are the only nominations for Nyad, I think doesn't help. Connor points out the True Detective effect also helped Rachel McAdams in Spotlight and Mahershala Ali in Green Book.
True, although she did not win for Spotlight, but Mahershala Ali, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, I like this theory. This is good. We need to head out in a little bit here because we also do have some other stuff to do. We are recording our True Detective recap over at our Patreon, and we also are doing the thing we do every month at our Patreon, which is called Off the Menu, which is when we put it up to a poll of our subscribers. Every month, a different theme. This month, we're doing Sundance winners, previous Sundance winners, and Alonso curates it very lovingly. And so we're going to do a little review of I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore with Melanie Linsky and Elijah Wood. So we got that to do. Also, if you guys have not yet subscribed to my newsletter, it'd be a fabulous thing to do because everything you see that we do is all in one place, plus other stuff. I post random photos of things. So come and join. You can subscribe by going to ChristyLemire.com and subscribing there. There's a little button that says subscribe here, and you can subscribe there. So lots of goodies. Lewis says RDJ is great, but it'd be nice if Mark Ruffalo won. Brian asks, do you think Bradley is sad about no best director? That is a very good question because this seems like a thing that he really, really wants.
Yeah, he is. I read he's the 20th nominated actor to have directed himself, and the last one was him in Stars Born.
He's just gonna keep doing it till it works.
No. He definitely wants to be taken seriously as he wants to be Clint Eastwood, and Clint Eastwood was not Clint Eastwood overnight. It took him quite a while to get to the sort of awardsy level that he would eventually attain with Unforgiven and stuff. So he's a white straight guy who's going to get more opportunities. His day will come.
Yeah. And I think Maestro is a thrilling film in a lot of ways. It's very ambitious. It is technically impeccable. It's a really, really well-made film. Andrew says, adios. By the way, to answer your question, they canceled school due to icy roads this morning. It's an e-learning day in Illinois. So you all be safe out there.
Yeah, stay warm and safe.
Yes. Nancy asks why the Bradley Cooper hate. We don't have Bradley Cooper hate at all. We very much appreciate how hard he works and how deeply he cares and how multifaceted he is. But it's also extremely plainly clear that he really, really wants this. He wants this. Nico's Vault says, Yurskin Fendrix, composer for Poor Things, was born when John Williams only had 31 nominations.
And never forget, John Williams' first nomination was for Valley of the Dolls.
Oh, so funny. You know what I learned? I did a Q&A a couple weeks ago with Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe and Mark Ruffalo and Rami Youssef. And I learned that Yurskin Fendrix did not actually compose the Poor Things score having seen the film. He didn't see any of it. He, Yorgos Lanthimos told him what he wanted, and Yurskin Fendrix did his thing separately, and then maybe needed to fill in a piece here or there and saw some film, but mostly did not. I think that's
pretty amazing.
That seems unusual given that it very much mirrors her state as she evolves.
True.
Yeah. Brent points out Bradley is great in Licorice Pizza. Yes, he is.
Yes. Streisand.
That's right. Yeah, Brian also prefers him doing stuff like Licorice Pizza. Yeah, right. When he breezes in, kind of like Ben Affleck, right? He breezes in and he's arrogant.
He is the character actor who has been doomed with the face of a movie star.
It's hard being beautiful. It's really hard. Oh, Dan Peters says, True Detective North is veering into Fargo-ish camp. Way too many boring subplots with minor characters. Needs to stay taut and focused on Foster and the procedural through line a la Fincher. I don't know, man. This week was terrifying.
It's the second episode. Calm down. Let them play it out. Jesus.
And this was terrifying this week.
Yes. The corpsicle.
Paul brings up a great point. R.I.P. Norman Jewison. Yes.
Next time we do news, we should talk about that. But a legend, he was the executive producer of the Judy Garland show, and then he made In the Heat of the Night, and then he made fucking Fiddler on the Roof, and then Rollerball, and then Moonstruck. That is range, you guys.
Yeah. No, an incredible longevity there. Yes. A couple more things. Kay the Replicant, did you hear about Rob Lowe accidentally texting Bradley Cooper a congrats text after his loss at the Golden Globes? Yeah, he meant to text Robert Downey Jr., but he texted Bradley Cooper instead.
Wow, that feels like a humble brag disguised as an anecdote, but okay.
Lots of
look who's in my phone.
Right, lots of very strong feelings here about True Detective. Jesse likes it so far. Jinkazi E says Night Country is not great, Bob. Looney says Night Country is as much Callie's show as it is Foster's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Connor likes it. I think it's really good so far.
I'm digging it.
Langley says it's so difficult bearing the burden of extreme beauty. I face it every day. You do, my friend. It's very true.
It's true.
Okay, you guys, we got to take off. I hate to leave you, but it's been such a treat being here. If we did not answer your question, or if you have any more thoughts or things you want to share, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. We will, this is news to you, Alonso. We will do another one of these.
Oh. Okay.
Come Oscar prediction time when like we did last year. You can sit with us, print out your ballot. We'll go category by category. We will try not to steer you wrong.
Do not take my suggestions if you're a gambling person, because you will lose on me.
We're going to try. I do think it's really, really tight and really hard to pick in a number of these categories where Poor Things and Oppenheimer and Killers of the Flower Moon are all in there. I think that's really, really hard. So we'll try our best, though.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here, though. We had a great time, and we hope you did too.
Yes, thank you for being here in the middle of the day. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Chase. Thank you, Christine, Looney, Lewis, Jose, Jane. Always good to see you, John, and Mike, and Roma, Steve, and Nancy, and Kay. We do need Ben to come and join with odds. Ben's the gambling man here.
Mr.
All
Vegas.
Right. Have a wonderful rest of the day and go take a nap now because you're probably all up very early like we were for the most exciting day of the year. And we'll see y'all really soon. Thanks so much. Bye.